Hello, and welcome to No Peeking, where I solve puzzles blindfolded. Today I'm going to be attempting the Pentacle cube. Thank you to everyone who suggested this. The Pentacle cube is a very interesting puzzle. It turns in two ways. First, the centers turn like this. Second, the layers can turn like this. But because the layers are cut using 4 slices on each face, and the centers are cut using 5, you can only ever have one layer able to move at a time. So this layer can move, but all other layers are blocked by the centers. So if I wanted to do an R move, I would have to adjust the centers to allow it. But now I can't do a U. This makes for a very challenging blind solve because we have to adjust the centers blindfolded between each turn. Let's take a look at how we solve this puzzle, and we'll start with the centers. There are 2 types of centerpieces. These rounded centers, which are akin to X centers on a 5x5, and then these triangular centers, which are akin to T centers on a 5x5. And we can adapt the commutators for X and T centers and apply them to the centers on the Pentacle cube. So let's take a look at how you do that. All right, these 2 cases are, for our purposes, identical. The same 3 pieces need to be swapped. So on a 5x5, we would use this commutator. Insert like that, and then interchange, reverse the insertion, and reverse the interchange. Now let's apply that to the Pentacle cube. We can do the insertion like that, but now the interchange is blocked, so we need to adjust these centers. So I'll adjust this using that move, and now we need to do that for all of the other centers. But you need to be very careful doing this. See, I did this counterclockwise move, so I have to do the same direction on all the other faces. If I went clockwise, this still is able to turn the left side, but it will affect the centers in a way that I'm not expecting. So we need to go counterclockwise on all of the faces, like that. And now we can do the interchange. And then we'll adjust the centers back, reverse the insertion, and then adjust the centers back, and reverse the interchange. Now the same idea applies to the T centers. So these 2 cases are pretty much the same. On the 5x5, we would interchange and then do the insertion, reverse the interchange, and reverse the insertion. Now, the T centers are a little trickier on the Pentacle cube because you can't really do slice moves, so you have to do 2 moves. So we'll line these all up and do the L move, and then we need to do an R move backwards, and then we can readjust the centers, do the insertion, and then we'll do that slice move, and then undo the insertion. Now we know how to solve the centers. Let's take a look at the corners. The corners move the same as corners on a 3x3, so we can take 3x3 corner commutators and apply them to the Pentacle cube. These 2 cases are the same. On a 3x3, we would solve this by doing insertion, interchange, reverse insertion, and reverse the interchange. Now, if we directly applied that algorithm to the Pentacle cube, it would solve the corners, but it would alter the centers, which we don't want to happen. Luckily, there's a slight modification that we can make to the algorithm to make it center safe. So, anytime that we do a move like this U, we want to undo it on the centers. So U prime. If we do this for every move, it will prevent the centers from being disrupted. So I'll do the insertion with a U, undo the move on the centers, and then line up the centers for an L, do an L and undo it on the centers, and then reposition these, and then we'll do U prime, undo the centers, and then we'll do our interchange, undo the centers, and reposition these, and then another U, undo the centers, position these for an L, undo the centers, fix these, and then I'll do my U, undo the centers, then undo the interchange. And now it's solved. So that covers execution. Now I'll briefly talk about memorization. Corners can be memorized exactly how they are in 3x3, so nothing new for that. But the centers are a little more challenging. There are 5 of each type on each face, and with 6 faces, that makes 30 pieces. Now the Latin alphabet, which is the most common memo method, only has 26 letters, so that's not going to be enough. What I do is I apply my letter scheme from 3x3 to 4 of the pieces on each face. So if you use SPEFs, you could do A, B, C, D, and then the last piece on each face I just give a number. So this would be A, B, C, D, 1, E, F, G, H, 2, I, J, K, L, 3, and so forth. Now this isn't great because it can give you letter pairs with a letter and a number in it. Sometimes they work, like C4 or R2, but more often than not, it's just a combination that you have to brute force memorize. One of my strategies is to try and combine numbers together so that I have a 2-digit number as an adjective for a normal letter pair rather than 2 mixed letter pairs. This has mixed success. I can usually do it a couple times in a solve, but it doesn't always work. Still though, since I'm just going for one success rather than speed, it's better than developing a completely new memo method. So, we've gone through execution and memorization. Now it's time to do some attempts. This is Pentacle Cube Blindfolded, attempt 1. Oh. This is attempt number 2. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, man. Oh. Well, I mean, it looks better than the last few. This is attempt 7. Yes! Well, this puzzle was a real challenge to solve. You have to turn at least 4 centers between each move, which makes it very easy to get lost in the middle of an algorithm, and also makes it easy to lose your orientation, which happened to me in 4 of the 7 attempts. And I was starting to think that this was too difficult and that I would have to give up, so I'm very happy that I finally got a success. Now this probably could be faster, but I'm pleased enough with my time as it is, given how difficult this puzzle is. Thank you for watching, and let me know what puzzles you'd like to see me solve blindfolded.